Ever dared to explore an abandoned house? The thrill of the unknown, the allure of the forbidden, and the whispers of the past can be irresistible. But sometimes curiosity can lead to unexpected and terrifying consequences. Mia did, and it was a night she would never forget. A night that would etch itself into her memory, haunting her every thought. In a small, forgotten town, an old, abandoned house stood ominously. Its windows were shattered, and its walls were covered in ivy, giving it an eerie, almost sentient appearance. The house had a reputation, a dark history that kept most people away. Locals whispered about a family that vanished without a trace decades ago. The story was passed down through generations, each retelling adding more layers of mystery and fear. Some said the family was cursed, others believed they were taken by something sinister within the house. One night, a curious teenager named Mia decided to explore it. She had heard the stories, but her adventurous spirit and a dare from her friends pushed her to face the unknown. As she stepped inside, the door creaked ominously behind her. The sound echoed through the empty halls, sending a shiver down her spine. She felt as if the house was welcoming her, or perhaps warning her. The air felt thick, and a chill ran down her spine. It was as if the house itself was alive, breathing, watching her every move. Wandering through dusty rooms, her flashlight flickered. The beam of light danced across the walls, revealing glimpses of the house's former glory and its current decay. Each step she took was accompanied by the creaking of the old wooden floorboards. In the living room, she found an old mirror covered in grime. It was large, ornate, and seemed out of place in the otherwise dilapidated room. The mirror seemed to call to her, drawing her closer. Wiping it clean, she stared at her reflection, but something seemed off. Her reflection looked back at her with an intensity that made her uneasy. In the dim light behind her, a shadow moved. It was subtle, almost imperceptible, but enough to make her heart race. She turned quickly, but the room was empty. The silence was deafening, and she could hear her own heartbeat pounding in her ears. Heart pounding, Mia tried to leave, but the front door slammed shut. The sound was like a gunshot, reverberating through the house and trapping her inside. Panic surged. She dashed back to the mirror, only to see not just her reflection, but the faces of the family that once lived there, trapped, eyes pleading. Their expressions were a mix of sorrow and desperation, as if they were trying to communicate with her. Suddenly, the reflection began to change. The faces twisted and contorted, becoming more grotesque and horrifying with each passing second. The faces twisted into grotesque smiles, and a whisper filled the air. "Join us!" The words were barely audible, but they sent a chill down her spine. The mirror cracked. Mia felt a cold hand grip her shoulder. The touch was icy, sending a jolt of fear through her body. She screamed, but no one could hear her. Her voice was swallowed by the oppressive silence of the house. The next day, townsfolk noticed a new reflection in the old mirror. A girl with a terrified expression, forever trapped in the house she dared to explore. Her eyes were wide with fear, and her mouth was open in a silent scream, a permanent reminder of the dangers of curiosity. The townspeople whispered among themselves, their fear and curiosity piqued. The house had claimed another victim, and the legend of the haunted mirror grew even darker. Some said they could hear Mia's screams at night echoing through the empty streets. The mirror, now with Mia's reflection, seemed to glow with an eerie light. It was as if the souls trapped within were trying to break free, their anguish palpable to anyone who dared to look. Among the old family photos scattered around the house, ghostly figures could be seen. They were faint, almost transparent, but their presence was undeniable. The house was a prison for lost souls, and Mia had become one of them. Mia's friends, who had dared her to enter the house, searched for her the next day. Their worry grew with each passing hour, and they could feel the weight of guilt pressing down on them. When they finally reached the house, they hesitated. The stories they had laughed at now seemed all too real. The house loomed before them, its dark windows like eyes watching their every move. They called out for Mia, their voices trembling with fear. The house remained silent, its secrets hidden within its walls. As they ventured further inside, the air grew colder, and the sense of dread intensified. When they found the mirror, they were horrified to see Mia's reflection staring back at them. Her eyes were filled with terror, and her mouth was open in a silent scream. The realization hit them like a punch to the gut. Mia was trapped, just like the family before her. They ran out of the house, their hearts pounding with fear. The legend of the haunted mirror had claimed another victim, and they knew they would never forget the sight of Mia's terrified face. The townspeople continued to avoid the house, their fear of the unknown keeping them at bay. The house stood as a dark reminder of the dangers that lurked within, and the souls it had claimed remained trapped, their cries for help echoing through the halls. The haunted mirror, with its trapped souls, remained a silent witness to the horrors within the house. And as the moonlight cast eerie shadows on the walls, the house waited patiently for its next victim, its dark history growing with each passing year.